Chapter 8, Opening the Doors. The conversation between Jerahab, Kohengal, and Nekemabed about the sequence of the trumpet's call and the beginning of the provision of the fruit continued. The trumpet's success will ensure the emptying of the Zud chest into the cosmos, Jerahab ended. I would have liked to destroy the key before it was turned, Nekemabed whispered. I would like to destroy the key maker, Kohengal sighed. We have already agreed upon what will be done. Because we are truth, we had to allow the Zud chest to be revealed in the outer edge. It was not our choice to have it opened, or to have it take root in Rahab as it has. But so it is, and so it will be done, Jerahab said, remaining in the discussion. Rahab will never reveal its beauty in the cosmos again. I cannot even stomach what that stone of fire has become. Kohengal glanced at a scene deeper within the table. How I would love to be in the temple for that fateful moment, hinted Kohengal. Rashawn was following the reading faithfully and had simply glanced up to see where they were standing in the Elenthial hall when he noticed several of the children had blank stares on their faces. He stopped reading and closed the book so the screen would pause. Who does not understand what is happening? He asked. Every hand but one shot up. Joshua, you impress me. Tell me what you know. Joshua looked down, wishing he had just raised his hand like the others. I think they are talking about the storage of the Zud and what we saw happening when Sar first saw the silvery substance before he named it Zud. Joshua squirmed at the fact he had everyone's attention. You did well paying attention to the details and putting it all together, Rashawn responded, then elaborated. You are correct. Or allowed the portal and the chest to be hidden in the darkness of the outer edge long ago. The portal is attached to a vast deposit of Asoavel, a gray mist that embodies all evil, beyond the borders of Elenthial in the great unknown. In a way, Asoavel is the true enemy, and those who overcome it will be the true overcomers and counted among the ones who bear the image of the coming king, or established Elenthial for the purpose of protecting his creation from it. The portal which houses the chest was deep in the outer edge, so the Abirs would not discover it until the time came for it to fulfill its purpose. Once the portal was found, the chest remained locked and was not a threat until the key was formed. Who made the key to open that terrible box? Mia interrupted. Sar did. It was his thoughts of supremacy and domination that made the key, Mia, Rashawn answered. How can a thought make a key? She was quick to reply. The keys we think of are tangible replicas from the original concept of a key. A key opens or locks something. In this age and the other ages, there are keys that are invisible. They do not need a material counterpart because the heart, which turns them in the spiritual realm, determines them. It takes place within the 6 dimensions that we are not accustomed to seeing. All existence is real only in the full 10 dimensions. The dimensional world we are familiar with in the second age is only a shadow of this one. In reality, it is a digital simulation like a matrix of what we are seeing right now. If Or allows, we can see all things on every level, clarified Rashawn. That is why we can see inside the Elenthial hall as well as into the great temple. We see things that only few have seen. The children looked at each other. Some made side comments and others seemed to communicate with a gaze. Rashawn took this as a sign to move on. He reopened the book. The screen came back to life with Jerahab speaking. Let us move into the great temple for a while before the provision of the fruit, suggested Jerahab. The 3 joined together and Or entered the temple. As he walked, the massive train of his robe followed behind him. Its material was like smooth, sheer silk of a pearl-white color with a polished sheen that glistened when Or's light bounced off of it. He passed through the temple's 2 enormous porch columns, then into the temple's court where incense continually burned. The pillars and doorposts quivered as he entered, acknowledging Or's presence. A rush of wind could be heard as he approached his throne. Or sat upon his throne. Above him, the seraphim, an exclusive class of angelic beings, cried out a continuous proclamation of his worthiness. Their permanent post was in the temple. Around his throne, 4 cherubim gathered to serve his commands. Or took a while to allow his heart to grieve and to strengthen, for the end of the first age was in sight. On a forceful exhale, Or separated into 3 again. Jerahab, Kohengal, and Nekemabed. Jerahab remained seated on the throne while Kohengal and Nekemabed moved away. "It is near," said Jerahab. "The challenger has taken form and his fate is about to be sealed." Kohengal moved outside of the throne room. He stopped and lingered to stare into the burning lamps on the south side of the temple. Nekemabed passed him as he went out to the porch. He leaned against one of the massive pillars looking out at the river. The three were concentrating on their individual tasks at hand. Abaddon, who sat at Sar's right hand, motioned to Azazel below that Sar had finished addressing the crowd. It was perfect timing. The last of his workers had partaken from the tree of knowledge. Azazel headed up to the balcony. "That was easier than I anticipated," Sar commented boastfully. "Quickly, Abaddon, update me on the progress of the palace." "Yes, sir. As you were nearing the end of your speech, I took the liberty of inspecting the progress to ensure everything was on schedule," began Abaddon. "The platforms have been completed and everyone is in their designated areas. Toward the center tower, several levels were added to expedite the process. The angelics will enter through the eastern doors, form two lines, and make their way toward the tree. Once they have obtained the fruit, they will exit through the northern and southern exits. I have personally placed several of my men to ensure the process is orderly." "Well done," stated Sar. "It was my pleasure, sir," replied Azazel, who had just reached the top of the balcony. "I believe Sar was talking to me," Abaddon snapped. "But I oversaw the project," confirmed Azazel. "Or has ordained me as the overseer of all projects," Abaddon shot back. Azazel took a moment to glance at Sar, then responded, "Sar ordered me, the governor of the palace, to oversee this project." Sar was impressed with Azazel's response. He challenged Abaddon with the next question. "I assume you have prepared for me a place to oversee the proceedings?" Abaddon stood in silence. "Your stunned silence is quite reassuring," Sar sarcastically added as he revealed a disgusted look. Abaddon was clearly searching for an answer when Azazel interjected. "My men have constructed a private platform in the main fork of the tree above the added levels. From there, you will be able to watch as those entering approach the tree. You will also have a full view of the northern and southern hallways. The entire procession can be viewed from your private platform." Sar looked a bit surprised. "Well done, Azazel." Sar's congratulations drew a livid look from Abaddon. Sar could feel the competitive energy in the air. He stopped a moment and closed his eyes as he inhaled the energy, demonstrating the bliss he felt watching the great effort the two were making to please him. Not wanting to miss a chance to fuel the fire, Sar added, "Azazel, how does it feel to know your work has enhanced my creation?" Azazel felt a bit uncomfortable with Abaddon's reaction to Sar's praise and thought it best not to make matters worse for himself. "I was only doing my job, sir." "Very well, then. Show me to my platform." Sar was disappointed at Azazel's lack of reaction. As Sar and Azazel started off, Sar stopped and turned to Abaddon. "Redirect the multi-dimensional discs into the palace so all can see Azazel demonstrating how to receive their gift." "Very well. It will take me only a moment. I need to reset the image duplicator to Azazel," responded Abaddon. His words were respectful but echoed with a tinge of jealousy at Azazel's continuous spotlight role. "Reset it and then prepare to open the eastern doors. We cannot wait any longer," concluded Sar. "Yes, sir." And with that, Abaddon turned to reset the image duplicator before heading to the doors. Sar and Azazel continued toward the center tower. As the corridor ended, it gave way to a spectacular scene. The top of the massive tree extended its branches through the transoms and was piling on the roofs of each of the 4 wings. The added platforms enhanced the gigantic configuration and gave perspective to how awesome the scene truly was. After inspecting the new structures, Sar took his place upon the private platform and turned to Azazel. "I can take it from here." Azazel merely gave a slight bow. He quickly moved to the doors of the main entrance. "Is everything ready?" he asked Abaddon. "Yes, are you ready?" Abaddon bit back. "The duplicators will initiate once you arrive on the center stage of the tree." Abaddon gave Azazel a stern look and paused. "Azazel, you might be the governor of this palace, but I am still Sar's right hand." You may have been the first to stumble upon the fruit, but I exhibited his image before you." Azazel glared at Abaddon, then smirked at the whole situation. "Just give the command to open the doors." With his cocky smirk still in place, he positioned himself to greet those who would be at the head of the line. Abaddon could not move. He was being introduced to an unidentified emotion. He had never felt infuriation before and did not know what to do with the surge of anger. He threw his arms forward, roared out the command, "Open!" The doors flew open, slamming against their supporting walls. Abaddon knew he had crossed the line, but did not care. Azazel found it humorous that Abaddon was not able to control his reactions. "There's a new expression of laziness. Did you come up with that all on your own?" Azazel jabbed. Before Abaddon could comment, Azazel turned to the entering crowd. "Welcome! I need you to form 2 lines and follow me," hailed Azazel. His voice carried over the waves of the music to every participant. Abaddon propped open the doors of the eastern entrance. The lines of angelics were mixed with the Abirs, Isham, and Meleks. Once inside the center tower, the Isham moved to the upper ramps due to their large wingspans. The Abirs and Meleks had no preference and moved wherever a spot was available. The ramps were conducive to the throngs of partakers and weaved through the tree's foliage efficiently to speed up the procession. Azazel had reached the center stage and was waiting under an abundance of branches from the tree. The discs were activated and he began. "Pick any piece from the tree, then move toward your nearest exit," instructed Azazel. "It is important that you physically pick your fruit. The strength of the zood is greatest when you do it this way." He demonstrated by grabbing a plump piece of fruit and biting into it. Juice dripped down his chin, releasing the sweet aroma. This started a wave of motion down the line out into the courtyard. The Abirs sniffed the air and began pushing their oxen bodies through the line, which caused the Isham to go into flight and the Meleks to increase their size. "Order!" demanded Azazel, trying to stop a stampede. Azazel looked up to where Sar was sitting for a response. "There is plenty for all. Choose your piece and savor the fruit," Sar calmly reassured them. He then called for Abaddon to join him on his platform and for Azazel to continue his work. Rashawn's words were floating at an even pace as the events were playing out before the children's eyes. Each conversation rang loudly throughout the theater. Within the scene, a light gray mist filled the palace. There were no words corresponding with this event, which raised the children's curiosity. "Rashawn, what is happening to the air outside the palace?" Simon interrupted Rashawn's flow. All eyes were immediately drawn toward the ceiling of the palace. Rashawn, too, looked up to examine what Simon was inspecting. "Well, I thought it was going to be the cloud of music that we saw earlier, but it is not," Rashawn stated as he thoroughly scrutinized the frozen screen. He sat there with no reply for a few moments. Then he recalled the saying of his fathers, "Gray welcomes the night as light welcomes the day." Rashawn now fully understood where that saying originated. "Children, the grayness that hovers in the palace is unseen to those in its presence. It must be between dimensions or within one that is hidden from the cosmos and those within it. The wonderful thing is that we are able to see it. The gray mist is the reason that the angelic beings are acting unruly. It is such a light gray, maybe they don't realize it is there. If Simon had not asked about it, I don't think I would have noticed it either," Sarah stated. "That is the point," Rashawn started. "The grayness, regardless of how faint, still welcomes in the night. Actually, I would dare to say the fainter, the better." "So what good is it for the angelics if they can't see it?" asked Morris. "I believe we are seeing it because it is a clue to a pattern and not a warning to the angelics," replied Rashawn. "As the scene unfolds, pay attention to their actions and to the dim grayness." Rashawn then focused on the page before him, uttered the first word, and immediately they were back in the middle of the action. Sar could see Abaddon approaching with a new gait. "Abaddon, are you upset?" inquired Sar. "No." Abaddon waited a moment for Sar to challenge him. Surprisingly, no challenge came. "Sar cannot tell my response is not true," he thought. "I have the power to conceal." Abaddon realized he was drifting off in thought when Sar spoke. "Abaddon, I need Vanity and Haughty. Have them relieve Azazel and send him here," Sar ordered. "I want both of you here to plan our next move." As you wish." Sar watched as angelics from all over the stones of fire continued filing in and filling the platforms. A few of the angelics who heard Sar's address left, but the majority of them were determined to partake of Sar's gift. The entire procession began in an orderly fashion with a ceremonial flair. Sar grew stronger and more confident with each pick from the tree. Abaddon had given his men the orders and returned to Sar's private platform to ensure his place next to Sar before Azazel arrived. Abaddon was waiting for the perfect opportunity to discuss his thoughts on Sar being the prophesied king, but he realized it was not the right moment when he noticed Azazel quickly approaching. "You wanted to see me, sir?" Azazel inquired as he stepped between the two, acting as if Abaddon was not present. "Now that you are here, I will get right to the point. I have ambitions that are far greater than what you see here in this palace. We must plan our next move." Sar spoke to them while still gazing over the crowd. Abaddon decided to take a chance. "We? Sir, you are much too modest. The king should be the one to make the plans." His comment quickly won the attention of both Sar and Azazel. "Just what are you implying? Do you dare make such a decree?" posed Sar. Abaddon feared he had crossed the line. I have been over this countless times in my head. This is my conclusion." "I am listening." Abaddon quickly glanced at Azazel, who stood motionless with a gaping jaw. He knew this was his chance to shine, therefore he chose his words accordingly. "Look at this," he proclaimed in a loud voice, extending his arms to bring Sar's attention to the scene. "Who else but the king could do something this grand? The Zood is your created covering and your gift for all who will accept you." Sar gave his undivided attention to Abaddon as he pled his case before him. Abaddon's actions played right into Sar's previous plan. He had been prepared to make this declaration himself, but became more comfortable with the declaration coming from Abaddon. He figured this way the other angelics would be likely to embrace the idea of his kingship. "You have given this much thought," stated Sar. He then turned his attention to Azazel. "And do you agree?" "Actually, sir, I was going to say that. I have always thought of you as the king," answered Azazel as he pathetically tried to get into the action. Abaddon rolled his eyes. "Really?" Sar asked, trying to act somewhat surprised. "So, both of you agree?" "Yes, sir. Abaddon agrees with me," Azazel added with excitement. Sar directed the next question to both of them. "Then tell me, what shall we do about it?" "We must go to Elenthial and declare to Or that we know who the heir to the throne is," announced Abaddon. Sar leaned in closer to Abaddon. "Listen to me very carefully. We will not be announcing anything to Or. He knows who I am and that I am coming. When the trumpet call reaches Rahab, we will go to Afar as planned. After you and your men eat of the eternal tree, lead them to Salem and secure the great temple." "What do you mean, secure the great temple?" "I mean take it over. If I am correct, Or, along with the rest of the angelic beings, will be on Afar. Therefore, the great temple will be empty. I will join you shortly after that. Once we have secured the great temple, I will take my position on the throne." "On Or's throne?" "Of course not. I will allow Or to keep his throne. I will be seated above him in the northern sector." Sar took a moment to look around and take it all in. This is working out perfectly, he thought. Suddenly, he heard the sound of a trumpet in the far distance moving toward the palace. Surely that is not